So in this example, you can see here the hello is at the end of the input string. So if you have used the cap and cap for the regular expression pattern, it says that this pattern needs to be mandatorily matched at the beginning of the input string. So as you have seen in the previous video that you are going to get the successful result for this first example where you have the hello at the beginning of the input string. But if we will even see what output you might get even for this second example, where you can see the hello is present in the input string but it is present at the end of the input string. So let me run this and show you here. So you can see here. So this is the part of the program what I'm explaining right now. So in this you can see here, for the first example where you have the hello at the beginning of the input string, you got it as a successful search saying it as a match is equal to hello. So in the second example, you can see that hello is present at the end of the string, but it is not at the beginning of the string. So the regular expression what we have defined here, it asks the pattern to be at the end, beginning of the string here. So for that, you are going to get the result as a none here. Right. So similarly, what happens if we use the dollar symbol instead of the cap symbol? So with contrast to this cap symbol, the dollar symbol tells that the regular expression pattern for which we are using the dollar symbol, that pattern needs to be at the end of the string here. So for example, you can see here, we have defined the regular expression pattern as a slash t, which tells that the digit. So it tells that it is a digit, and it also tells that we have used the dollar symbol along with this, which indicates that the pattern needs to mandatorily appear at the end of the string. So as it did with the cap, to tell that it has to begin or it has to be at the beginning of the string, here the dollar symbol tells that it should be at the end of the string here. So in this example, you can see here we have used the same regular expression pattern as an input string. You can see here the string is ending with a digit which does matches with this pattern here. But in the next example, you can see here we have the string where we have the digits to be present at the beginning of the string. So we'll see what output we'll get for this. So here you can see this is the part of the output what we are discussing this example here. So for the first string where it has the numeric value or a digit at the end of the string, it does that match is equal to 2, saying that it is a successful search. But in the next example where you can see the string is not ending with the digit, instead you have the digits in the beginning, though you have it in the beginning, so the pattern is going to match them at the end itself. So for that's the reason you are going to get the result as a none here, right? So we have the one more character in the in the regular expression pattern, that is the wildcard character. So which character is said to be as the wildcard character is a dot symbol, and it is going to match for the any character from the keyboard then. So we'll see the same thing with the example here. So you can see here in this example, okay, so you can see here in this example what we have defined. We have defined this as a pattern. So what are the pattern tells here? Dot symbol followed by the at. So that means this dot is going to specify that any single character or any character from the keyboard is going to be matched against this pattern here, followed by the at. So that means anything followed by the at is going to be matched here. So similarly, we are going to apply it on one of the input string. So let me tell you that which all the parts of this string is going to be matched for this pattern. So cat is going to be matched. Why? Because you have the at pattern, so it is preceded with any one character. So even the hat is going to be matched, even the sat is going to be matched, and even at the last where you have the fourth. So dot is not restricted to the only the alphabets. It can be matched for the any character from the keyboard, right? But it is going to match for the only once. So one dot means the one character from the keyboard. So similarly, you have a provision that you can use the dot followed by the star. So I hope you know what is the significance of using the star, which is a special character which tells the zero or the more occurrences. So in this example, what we have taken as a pattern here, so you can see dot is followed with a star, which means that any number of or the any character or the n number of the occurrences of characters can be considered here, right? So you can see dot means any character, but it is followed with a star, which tells that the n number of the repetitions of this character. So whatever the character from the keyboard or the any character from the keyboard with a zero or the n number of the occurrences can be considered. So this pattern has been taken here. The pattern that has been taken here is first name followed by the colon followed by the space and grouping. In the grouping you have the dot star followed by the space, again last followed by space, name colon space, and followed by again the dot with star here. So this pattern has been applied on the search, and it is this is the input string that has been taken here. So you can see here what all will be extracted as a result, since we have applied the grouping here and we are extracting the group of 1 and the group of 2 here. So what all things from this input string will be extracted here. So the first let us check whether does it matches with the pattern that has been defined here. So pattern does begin with the first name followed by the colon, and here you can space, you have the space here. So dot in the sense, as I told you, any character, but zero or the more occurrences, even if it is absent, that is acceptable. Even with the any repetitions, even that is also acceptable. So this al is also going to be extracted, followed by space, last name as it is, and the at the last you can see a dot followed by the star, that means single s, and followed by the any character from the keyboard with any kind of the repetitions here. So both these two values are going to be extracted here. So you can see here the values that are extracted from the input string are this, which are extracted with the dot with star here. Okay. So one more restriction is that the dot with star is going to extract everything, or it is going to match the any number of the characters except the new line characters. Suppose if you have the any new line characters in your input string, so that part is not going to be extracted, or else you can see the only the first extraction until the first appearance of the first new line character will be extracted here. So in this example you can see here the pattern that we have designed here is the dots followed by the star, so which means that the zero or the more occurrences of the any characters from the keyboard. But as I told you, this particular pattern is not going to match against the new line characters here. So we have applied this pattern on the this input string in the next line. So this is the input string that we have taken, so in which you have the in between a new line character. So if you can see here, slash n is a new line character, slash n is a new line character. So these particular two characters is not going to be considered for this pattern here. So in that case, what you are going to get the as a result here. So if you run this program, you can see that only the first part until you come across to the first new line character will be extracted here. So I'll show you the result. So you can see here, this is the output that is being extracted for this first search here. So where we have used only the dot star. So though you have the any number of the characters, due to the presence of the new line characters here, so due to the presence of this new line characters, you are able to extract only the first part here. But what if even if you want to extract the rest of the values with the dot star, ignoring the new line characters, so even that can also be done by using the re dot all the uppercase letters as a dot all in the compile method here. So in this case you can see here the dot followed by the star has been used as a first parameter, which is a pattern to be defined within the compile method. But followed to the comma, you can also use a one more method as a re dot all to tell that just even consider the new line characters also as a part of the pattern for extracting the values here. So in this case you can see here the output that you get for the next example, where the entire part of the input string is extracted even by considering the new line characters. So as a result, being considering the new line characters, as a result you are able to display it with the new lines here. So what is the agenda here is, suppose if you want to use this dot start to extract the n number of the occurrences with the any character from the keyboard, even including the new lines, you have to specify the re dot all as a second parameter for this compile method over here. So coming to the next concept, which is a case insensitive matching. So as I told you that the Python by default is a case sensitive language, and the patterns what you are going to define with the compile methods are also the case sensitive patterns. So for example, you can see here in all these compile methods, you have taken the same word, that is Robocop, but which differs in the sum of the cases with the particular letters in this. So for example, in the first pattern, you have the R being a capital and C being the capital and rest of the letters being the lowercase. So in the next case, you can see here all the letters are in the uppercase letters and so on. So that means all these patterns are going to work as a different patterns itself. Though the word is same, due to the difference in their cases with respective letters, so these all patterns are considered as a different itself. So even if there is a difference, and in case if you want to make it a insensitive, that is case insensitive, even that can also be done by using the re dot ignore case all in uppercase letters, or else the short form you can also use is re dot capital I as a second argument to the re compile. So this method needs to be used again with the compile method as a second parameter. So I hope you know that by this time the first parameter for the compile pattern is the pattern that you want to define. So as a second parameter, if you want to make it as a case insensitive, you can go for using the this as an argument over there. So for example, you can see here re.compile r cop. So this part is the pattern that you have designed. But if you want to consider this Robocop to be case insensitive, so at that time you can use the re.I or else re.ignore case as a second parameter here. So you can see here, so first parameter followed by the comma and followed by the second parameter here. So if you use this pattern or the object of this pattern what you have created here on this input string, where you have the Robocop in a different way as we have designed here with the pattern here. So since we have taken case insensitive, though the some of the letters are going to appear in a different cases, that is also going to be matched as a result here. So in the second example, you can see where it is again having a different cases as with respect to this. So due to the insensitivity, even this is also going to be matched, and same as with the third example as well. So let us see the same thing with an execution here. So you can see here, and this the same example I have taken here. So whatever the pattern that we have taken all it in a lowercase letters, but for the same pattern we have taken the second parameter as a re.I, which tells that this pattern needs to be considered with respect to the case insensitive. So that means this needs to be matched even if there is anything difference with the cases of the characters within this pattern here. So as did with the few inputs here. So in the next input, you can see a Robocop is with the different as compared to this pattern, where R is being a capital and C is being a capital. And in the next example, you can see here all are in the uppercase letters. In the last example, you can see here all are in the lowercase letters. So let us run this function and see what result you are going to get. So here you can see, here all the possible matches are extracted here. That is, all the cases are matched and they are extracted irrespective of the difference in the cases of the letters within this pattern here. So I hope it is clear to you that how you can ignore the cases, or else you can consider the case insensitive for the patterns that you want to design here. So coming to the next method, which is a substitute method, where you want to match for a particular pattern and you want to replace that pattern with the new value. So for doing that, you are going to use the sub method for the regular expression, and it is going to take the two arguments. The first argument is a string to replace to the matches, and the second is the string for the regular expression. So the first argument is the replacement character or the replacement value that you want to replace with the second argument, that is the input string here. So, and as an example, you can see here we have designed a pattern known as a agent followed by a space and followed by the slash w. So if you remember, the slash w is nothing but a character from the keyboard, that is a one character from the keyboard, and followed by the plus symbol, that is one or the more occurrences here. So this is the pattern that has been designed with a compile method. And as a next line for this pattern, we are not using the search or the find all method. Instead, we are directly using the sub method. So to this sub method, it is going to take the two arguments here. The first argument is the replacement value that you want to do. So here in this example, I want to replace this censored value. So where it needs to be replaced, it has to be replaced wherever it is going to match against this pattern. For example, you can see here agent is as it is, followed by the space and followed by the character with the one or the more occurrences until it gets to the next unmatched value. So that means this agent Alice is going to match for this pattern, and this agent Alice needs to be replaced with this value. So similarly to the next values, it will search for again till the end of the string, that wherever it get matches with the another part of the string. So agent Bob is also going to be matched over here, so which can be replaced with the censored here. So censored gave the secret documents to the censor. So again, let us see this with an execution here. So just a minute. So here you can see we have taken the same example where we have taken this as a pattern to be matched. So I hope it is clear to you about this pattern. So the pattern is agent word itself followed by the space and followed by the one character with the one or the more occurrences here to be taken from the keyboard. Right. So I hope you remember all these special characters that you can use for the designing the pattern. So that means this agent followed by the space and followed by the occurrences of the characters until it gets the next unmatched. So here in this case, next unmatched value is once again the space. So this particular path is replaced with the first parameter or the first argument that you have passed for the sub method here. So that is censored is going to be replaced on agent Alice, and even censored is going to be replaced on the next match that is found in this input string, that is the agent Bob. So let us see what result we got for this example here. You can see a censored gave the secret documents to the censored. So directly you can use it in the sub method. No need to use the search method and no need to use even the find all method. So sub method is automatically going to search for this pattern, and wherever it matches that pattern, that will be replaced with the first argument that you have passed for the sub method. So coming to the next concept, that how well you can manage with the complex regular expressions. So whatever the regular expressions that we have so far discussed in the earlier slides or the videos, those are very simple, which can be written with a very short space, that is within a single line over there. So but in real time, whenever you start working on the regular expressions in real time projects, you might require to write the lengthier regular expressions. So how to deal with such lengthier regular expressions, which is quite confusing to understand once written over there. So for example, you can see here re.compile is used, where we have this regular expression as a pattern. But if you normally see this regular expression pattern, it is quite difficult to understand for what each of these characters has been, or each of these design patterns has been taken here. So in such case, you might require to write the comments, but it is quite difficult to include the comments as a part of the regular expression pattern, which should not be considered for the execution. So as the comments are required just for the developer to understand for what purpose the patterns has been designed here. So even the regular expression is going to provide this facility to include the spaces, the multiple spaces, as well as the comment lines as a part of the design pattern, which can be ignored while execution. So how it is done? This is done with the verbose mode. So verbose mode can be enabled by passing the re.verbose. So re.verbose all in uppercase letters. This has to be taken as it is as a second argument again to the compile method here. You can see this is a one way where we are writing which is quite confusing, and this is the other way where you can use the re.verbose. So what this re.verbose will do is it is going to tell that pattern needs to be considered by ignoring the multiple spaces and the comment lines which are the part of the regular expression pattern here. So how to do that? There are the two ways. So there are the two steps here. So for the object you use the re.compile and r, and followed by, instead of the single quote, it should be the triple single quotes here, and followed by start designing the regular expression pattern. So even you can take it to the new line as well. So just to make it more easy to understand it and include the each part of the pattern to the new line, you can do it if you take it in the single triple single quotes here. So you just write whatever the pattern you want to write for the first part, and write the comment line for that to tell that for what reason you have taken this part of the pattern here. So similar, take to the new line, again write the next part of the pattern, and in front of it leave the multiple spaces and include the comment line with the hash symbol to tell that for what reason you have taken this pattern. So don't worry about the detailed explanation of this pattern, though we are going to discuss the same example in the next project example of this chapter over there. Right. So right now we'll just concentrate on what is the significance of using the verbose method. So for the rest of the cases also where you have the different patterns included within the single value here, so each of has been given with the uh, comment lines here. But at the end what you want is whenever you compile this and whenever you run this pattern, so all these multiple spaces that to taken to the new lines along with the comment lines needs to be ignored. So how it is done? After the completion of the design of the pattern, again end it with the triple single quotes followed by the comma, and just include the second argument for the this compile method as a re.verbose. So this method or this argument tells that so all the multiple spaces along with the comment lines needs to be ignored when executing the program. So I hope all the theoretical concepts of the regular expressions are clear to you, which has been explained along with the example. So do practice all these examples by your own so that you will be thorough in writing the regular expressions. So in the next video, I'll start with the project example of this chapter followed with the next chapter as well. Thank you.